Okay, artists, we are going to go ahead and do our first layer of printing. I'm going to write my first and last name and then my homeroom teacher's name on one side of my paper, and then I'm going to turn that over. Now I'm going to be starting with the lighter color. So I'm starting with this kind of yellowish orange. I'm squeezing out just about maybe a dime size amount of the ink. Now I can always squeeze more if I need it, but I can't take it away. And less is more when it comes to the ink. I've got my small brayer right here. Let me scoot that where you can see it. And when I'm rolling this out, I want to listen for that sticky sound. Ah, can you hear that sticky sound? I'm not talking about the squeaking of the brayer, but the sticky sound. Ah, there it is. So now I know that's a good amount of ink. I'm going to go ahead and start to roll that ink straight on top of my soft cut. Okay, now I've got a nice even layer as possible, and I'm going to flip this over and put it down on one side of that paper. Now there's a lot of different ways I can handle transferring that ink from the soft cut to that paper. One way that I figured out this summer is I actually, since I have this nice smooth wooden table, I can just literally go in a circle, easy peasy. Now artists, if doing this is going to shake your whole table, you might not want to do this one, especially if you've got anybody cutting at your table. Please don't do this. But this is just an option if it's not going to bother anybody else at your table. And I'm going to slip my hand back under there, flip it back over, and lift it up. And voila! Here we go, easy peasy. I'm going to put my soft cut back on that little catalog. I might squeeze a little bit more ink. Again, I can always squeeze more, can't take it away. Listening for that sticky, got it. Now rolling it back on. Now with that nice even layer of ink, I'm going to flip that foam over, set it on the other side, or other half of that white paper. I'm going to show you a different way now. I'm going to put my hand right there, kind of slide it so that my other hand sandwiches it, flip it over. Now, one of my favorite tools is my hands. So I can actually just press and rub right here. Easy peasy. So I'm just using my hands that whole time just to kind of gently and smoothly press and rub. And then I'm going to lift it up and voila. So you can see they're very similar in their quality, and that looks nice. I'm going to put my linoleum or my soft cut right back on that catalog for more prints. I'm going to set this aside, or this might be a good time to set this on the drying rack. Going with my next piece of paper, I'm going to write my first name and my last name and my homeroom teacher's name. Flip it over, ready to go. So artists, I'm doing 2 more prints, and I'm doing exactly the same thing you saw me do before, but I'm going to show you 2 other options as far as the pressing and transferring that ink to that paper. So now I put that soft cut on the paper. I'm going to flip it over after sandwiching in my hands. Now this time I'm going to take this tool, it's called a baren, and I'm going to press and rub over that entire piece of soft cut with that baren. You want to make sure you go all the way to the edges and the corners of that soft cut under there. And then you could even either flip it back over and lift up that paper, or you could lift it up right here, and voila. So I'm taking my soft cut, putting it on the other half of that paper, sandwiching it, flipping it over. This time I'm getting my big brayer, and obviously this doesn't have any ink on it, and I'm just going to press and roll a couple times, making sure I go all the way to the edges. And again, I could flip it back over and take off the paper that way, or I could just go ahead and take it off, and voila. After you're done with your prints, you're going to take your piece of soft cut and just take it over to the sink and rinse it off gently and briefly under the running water, and then we will be ready to start cutting next time.